broka me baketi maya. Timba broka me baketi maya. Oh, timba broka me baketi maya. Oh, timba broka me baketi maya. Oh, timba drapa me hipeti maya. Oh, timba drapa me hipeti maya. Drapa mi futeti maya. Oh, timba drapa mi futeti maya. Timba drapa mi paketi maya. Timba drapa mi paketi maya. Timba twisa mi hipeti maya. Timba twisa mi hipeti maya. Timba, 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 heavy load. 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 Timba.
One morning the captain wake, he wake the boatman. The boatman wake, he wake the bowman. The bowman wake with the paddle in the hand. All I want is a long and strong. A long and strong is too much for me. Long and strong is eternity.
Captain, put me ashore. I don't want to go anymore. Eternity gone frighten me. Eternity gone drunken me. Eternity gone walk me belly. Eternity are too much for me. Eternity, 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 eternity.
Captain, put me ashore. I don't want to go anymore. Eternity gone frighten me. Eternity gone drowned me. Eternity gone walk me belly. Eternity gone too much for me. Eternity, 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 eternity.
We are a peaceful people, struggle as we struggle, and we don't look for trouble, just ask around. But when outside faces from foreign places talk about taking over, we ain't backing down. We ain't giving up no mountains, no tree. We ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one grass, not a blade of grass. This land is all I know. We're gonna make it somehow. We will bend like a bow, but never break. Our fathers came here, and they lived and died here, and we ain't moving nowhere, make no mistake. We ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one grass, not a blade of grass.
We love the open county of the Rupununi and the Essequibo, daytime or night. Though we may criticize it, this is our home, we love it, and we need to keep it. We have that right.
We ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one grass, not a blade of grass. We ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one grass, not a blade of grass. We ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one grass, not a blade of grass.
Oh yes, a lot of you gon' vex, but I tell you, sometimes you just got to listen. There's a child in every home and every community. They will grow up to be symbols of unity. They'll be colorblind to race and ethnicity. That's the vision of a leader like President Irfan Ali. I'm talking about the one Guyana where our people can live in peace, where every race trusts each other, where racial prejudice no longer exists. Our children will have one Guyana to grow up in a land united and free with equality and blessed with prosperity. For too long we've been fighting one another. It's race against race, but in the end the country suffer. Oh, we were born here, not in India nor Africa. But if we can't get along, the foreigners gon' eat we suffer. We must put an end to racism. Let it end now with this generation. Together we'll develop this nation. Make Guyana the gem of the Caribbean. Don't listen to them wicked politicians who will divide us to win an election. Believe it or not, Guyanese no smarter than that. Yeah, I told you, it's your boy Padmore. Unity is the key. We are all one and we should be treated as one. ancestors were slaves and laborers, but the life they endured made it better for us. We honor their sacrifice and the freedom they bought for we. But some descendants of slaves use that to fuel the rich. It doesn't matter what's your skin color, when we bleed blood it's red the same. Let's respect and love one another. When a brother cry we must feel the pain. We're Portuguese, African and Indian. We're Chinese mixed up, we're Amerindians. We're all Guyanese. Let's end this segregation. I'm appealing to Guyanese in the diaspora. We welcome you home. We've got a lot to offer. It's not the same place.
Good morning, and welcome to another episode of Livewire. It's the 17th of May, 2024, and we're here to share again with you, debunk some rumors, and update you on what's happening in and around Guyana. If I'm looking a little dark this morning, folks, my ring light just decided not to work. Nevertheless, as we would have advertised yesterday, we have none other than the Honorable Joseph Hamilton, the Minister of Labor here in Guyana, and he'll be talking to us about training and all the other stuff that's going on through the Ministry of Labor. Lots of things happening there. There was a collaboration between the Ministry of Home Affairs and the Ministry of Labor in terms of trafficking in persons, and they've been doing a whole lot. We'll also take some time to ask the minister to give us a little fill-in on what's going on between the conciliation process between GTU and the Ministry of Education. But before we do that, and before we welcome the minister on screen, good morning to all the persons joining us across the 10 administrative regions and across the diaspora. Eunice Ragubir from Canada, Omar Sharif from NYC, Joan Abidjan from Canada, morning to you guys. Bibi. Oh no, I get up and I move the phone. Bibi Kalicharan, morning to you. Indepal Narain from Minnesota, Leroy Bangal joining us from NYC, Rahim Amarali, Faisal Ghani, Anthony Wong joining us from France, Claire Narain from Toronto, welcome to the program. Yumona joining us from Kumaka Mines up there in Region 10. Derek Drupal, morning to you. Ram Narain Singh from NYC. 1 second, people. Oh, man. Oh man, so I forgot to using the phone for light. Anyway, morning to all the persons here. Marisha, Pam Singh, Indra, Jamila Kayum, morning to you. Mohammed Isaf Balwan, Danraj, Miss Bob from Mocha, Deshaun Abrams, morning to you. Henry Jagdio, Richard Stanislaus, good morning to you. What is this? Jane from St. Martin, morning to Siram Chetty. Morning, everybody. Annette Ramdial, good morning. Jerry Gomes, watching from Georgia. Marine Razio, I'm glad that you found the live. Saying morning to the minister as well. Dial Sukram, good morning to you. Ann Hill, Asif Hamad, Pam Singh, morning to you and Trevor. Pam Singh, morning to Minister Hamilton as well. Diane, J Queen joining us from Pleasant. I ain't gonna trouble you this morning, J Queen. I hope you don't see nobody untoward passing through there. Making any trouble. Anyway, guys, let's welcome none other than the Minister of Labor, the Honorable Joseph Hamilton, on screen. Good morning to you, Minister. Welcome to the program.
Courdel, good morning. Morning to all your viewers and listeners.
Thank you for being here, Minister. I know you have a busy schedule. So let's jump into it right away. Recently, you were in Region 1, getting the bid program. Well, I should say off the ground because it's been running there, but I guess a new batch into the system. Tell us a little bit about that trip and some of the young people you met up there and their enthusiasm as it relates to this opportunity to upskill themselves.
Okay. Now we have started to roll out our 2024 programs across the country. And so when you saw me in Region 1, I went to do two things. One, to launch programs that are relevant to two communities there,
Right.
Cde and Canal Bank. The program specifically is small engine repairs because, you know, they need the skill set in there for people to be able to repair both engines, ATVs,
Right.
blood cutter, and all of those things. So 20 persons, 10 from each village will be involved in the program. Importantly, 40% of the persons are females in the two programs. So that's an important thing. The
Nice.
other thing I went to do is to do a sub turning for a training building. That bit will be the Ministry of Labor. We will be constructing in Port Kaiki.
Mm.
So first time the Region 1 will be having constructed a training, technical vocational educational training center. And so that project before the end of the year should be finished
Right.
so that we can start doing programs all day and evenings for persons who are working and might need to upskill and upgrade themselves. And
Right.
that is following on from the activity we started last year of building training building. Also this year we will be constructing a similar building in Region 3 in Tushen.
Right.
Last year, you know, we constructed and those buildings are about finished. Two similar buildings in Region 6, one at New Amsterdam, one at Corriverton. Uh, we have upgraded a building, training building we have in Bartica Region 7, and I'll come back to that in a moment because that is important and special for the people in Region 7 and
Right.
Bartica. We have a building that we're utilizing and working with at Bina Hill there in Anai, North Rupununi, and we have also refurbished a building in Letem.
Right.
That building will start at. On the East Coast at Unity, we are refurbishing a building and that's about finished. And that is special type of training we will do there. The intention is to take all our skills tradesmen we have in this country and to train them specifically so that they can be certified and accredited. Because what we have in Guyana, we have thousands of skilled tradesmen via experience. But the world is changing.
Mm.
And they must recognize that in this changing world, you have to have certification and accreditation.
Right.
Because in Guyana, we are upping the game in Guyana as regards development, as regards modernization. And for many buildings that will be built in this country, the contract might say only a accredited or certified technician can come work on this building. So
Right.
you have to be accredited AC technician, electrician, a plumber, mason, carpenter, whatever skill set. And if we don't deal with that issue, many of our skilled tradesmen might be left out. And I don't want that to happen. So that the building at Unity, Mike, is specifically to upgrade persons who have a skill so that they can be accredited and certified. If I go back to Bartica, we have already signed an MOU with the gold mine that is to be open in Region 7, the Reunion Gold Mine. And what the MOU would allow us to do in conjunction with the Real Union Company, the Board of Industrial Training will be tasked with training all technical staff that will be working at the gold mine. And so that is a major game changer in Region 7, in the Baltica area and the riverine communities there. So we are engaged with Reunion. They have already visited our facility. They have some ideas how to retool it. Just last month, they did a job fair at the facility.
Right.
And hundreds of persons from Region 7 turned out at the job fair. So in the future, we will be training many of those persons that will work at Reunion gold mines. So the 2024 program, as I said, we have rolled it out. We have started in South Georgetown, North Georgetown, South Georgetown specifically, East Rumbelt, West Rumbelt. We are engaged, and very shortly we will start program in conjunction with two church groups, one in Durban Street and the other in Albais Town. We have a youth group that we're engaging. We're to start program shortly in north of this Rumville, sorry, North Rumville. And of course, we have started again programs for people who live in Sophia. And this time we'll be doing both South and North Sophia. Last year we trained nearly 100 persons from South Sophia. And now this year we'll continue with South Sophia. And we will also include and do specific training for South Sophia. On the East Coast, our first program that was launched is in Buxton, at the Buxton Practical Instruction Center. Important to note, I was pleasantly surprised, Courdel, that when I got to Buxton to launch those programs, you had trainees who hails from Ansgrove to the east on the East Coast, right on to LBI on the western East Coast. So these programs are happening in Buxton PIC. And I am so elated that you could have people as far away as Ansgrove, as far away as LBI, who saw it fit to include themselves in the programs that are being done at Buxton. And I want to really congratulate those persons, because distance for them didn't mean a thing, because they understood the importance and the relevance of upgrading themselves. The programs in Buxton, the Buxton PIC, they're evening programs. So it allows for persons who are working, who want to upgrade themselves, and we will continue that. We are doing a program, I think you are aware of, the engagement some months ago the president had with young people in Kitty.
Yes.
And so that program is proceeding, it's continuing at the GITC. 42 young persons, male and females. They're about halfway in their training. And what has happened is that
Minister, let me cut you for a minute, please. Now, I had James Bond on this program earlier in the week, and he spoke to the training of young people and the need for it to be packaged differently to reach them. Now, your ministry and the administration you serve under have been going into these communities. I was there in Kitty when you met with those young people the first time, and at least half the group had no idea that these opportunities were available to them free of cost. So, could you give me your thoughts on that statement based on what you know the ministry has been doing? I think the Ministry of Social Security, they have the Grow program. You have BIT, you have the apprenticeship program. Do you think that you need to repackage what you're doing currently? What would you say to that statement?
I don't know. I don't know what my good friend James Wan meant when he said we need to package it. I don't know. Maybe it might be useful for us to have an engagement on your program if you have ideas. I'm open to that. But what I
Right,
can say is that in the community where he has business in Melanie Damishana, we have
right.
done several programs there in
Yeah,
that community because they have a training facility and we have worked with the co-op society there, and we have executed program. Now, if package mean for him, uh, the thought and idea I have, and I have been speaking to my technical people. Uh, let me back up to make this point. He couldn't be speaking about packaging to reach all and sundry across Guyana. He couldn't be speaking about that
right,
because under the government he worked with and operated under, in their 5 years, they were training average 1,300 to 1,500 persons per year with the Board of Industrial Training.
right.
We have been able to train in less than 4 years 11,439
Wow,
persons across the country. So it's an average of over 3,500 persons we have trained a year in the
wow.
period. If you juxtapose that against 1,300 persons or 1,500 persons, it would be 100 and odd percent more than. Other important issue is this program has been extended far and wide, where under Granger government, people didn't know they had something named existed.
Right,
So we can boast that we have executed and continue to execute program at the end of Guyana in the Quarantine River, Orial and Siparuta. We can boast that Maracaibo, the only Amerindian village in Region 5, we have executed program there. We
mm,
can boast that in the Pomeroon River, in many of the villages there, we can boast that in every interland community, every interland region and sub-region, we have executed program there.
yeah,
The highest point on the mountain where people live, Kurkobaru, we have
wow,
executed program there at K2, at Pamrakatai, then that is Region 8, Region 7, and Region 10 in the Borbis River, in the Demerara River, mostly Amerindian communities, and we continue to roll out program in Region 10. Kokwani, they have started very shortly. The programs in Linden will be on its way. So as regards reach, we have done enough packaging. What I think is needed, Cordell, is putting into the program some innovation and technology.
right,
I think that is necessary and needed. So if that is what he's talking about, we're on the same page. We have started to discuss that, because I am making this point that let us take, for instance, a welder and fabricator. We must go beyond training these people just to tack up some steel.
mm,
They must move into metalwork engineering and designing, utilizing IT application uh, to build things.
right,
That is those kind of conversation. I have been talking to my people, and we want to do a project at GITC. It will be a fusion of steel and wood, furniture,
yeah,
right? So that kind of thing, uh, we are discussing how we elevate, utilizing innovation, utilizing technology into the programs we do. if we look at we do for people who want to go into the tourism and hospitality industry, we
Right.
do the program food preparation, commercial food preparation. I'm making the point now that we must go beyond the training to make them employable and introduce the issue of nutrition in the training. So the chef, the person we're training, they must not just be preparing meals, they must have an appreciation of nutritious meals. They must have an appreciation of vegetarian meals because there are many
Right.
persons who are now vegetarians. If
Yeah.
we look at agro processing, we do that program. So I'm talking about now how we put some science into the agro processing program.
Right.
Now we train people in a specific way about packaging and labeling because we are training them to make them business persons. And so we have to collaborate with the Ministry of Trade and Tourism and Industry and to see how these persons we can train them in the scale of marketing and that kind of thing. So if that is what James Bond is talking about, we're on the same page. But if he's talking about execution, if he's talking about reach, what we have done in 4 years utilizing the Board of Industrial Training has never been done. And I just spoke to buildings that we are erecting, and never bit had training buildings. The other point is relationship with local partners and international partners. The relationship we have with the private sector, the relationship we have with the oil and gas sector, conversations we're having with them to allow for apprentices to be placed in their
Nice.
businesses. So
Nice. Nice.
so that is different things that are happening and started to happen. We're engaging overseas like-minded organizations. We have had conversations with the John Brown Technical College, a premier college in Toronto, Canada. Just this week, we have had conversation with the People Heart Institute in Jamaica that is responsible for technical training and development. So there's several things that are happening as regards how we capture and how we ensure that we can make people employable. We continue to work with our partners to ensure that after training, they can be employed in specific skill set
Yeah.
across the country. But
Yeah.
I say this again, for me, if my good friend James Brown, he has some ideas, I'm willing to listen. My office is open. And anyone
Minister,
who might
I,
have some
I can
ideas.
I can attest to at least 2021. I went to Napi, sir. And Napi is, you would probably know, Napi is about 4 or 5 hours drive from Central Letem. When I got to Napi, there was 2 buildings, not one. One for agro processing and one where the females in the community had, I think it was about 10 sewing machines. And they were, after being trained, producing things to sell at their craft shop, to send into Central Letem to sell, and those kinds of things. So I do know that the ministry has been investing in infrastructure and training in these far-flung communities. Now, Minister, I want to jump across to a recent collaborative effort between the Ministry of Labor and the Ministry of Home Affairs, where they had sessions to improve the detection and prevention of trafficking in persons. Just give us a bit of an overview of what is expected, or how the session went, and what is expected to come from this training that will benefit the officers there.
Okay, the Ministry of Labor is a member on the Trafficking in Persons Committee that is facilitated by the Ministry of Home Affairs. Importantly, we supervise the issue about child labor, and we have that responsibility. And so you have instances of child labor can derive from trafficking in persons. And
Right.
so the Ministry of Labor, we have that specific interest. And so we have been participating, and I'm giving you the background. Ms. Jillian Burton, who is the advisor here to the minister, she is the nominee from the ministry who has been serving on the Trafficking in Persons committee that the Ministry of Home Affairs they have. So our input in the whole conversation about TIP is to bring to that the conversation how we are supervising and how we are discouraging and how we have been able to get handle on child labor that might have been existing in Guyana.
Right.
And I would say this, that I think the Chief Labor Officer and his team of labor officers, they have done a wonderful job, because I can say to you, when I became minister, there were many reports coming out of many areas. We don't get so many reports anymore coming out of areas where you have had instances and incidents of child labor. But Courdel, the work is not over; it's not done.
Right.
We have to continue to work. We have to continue to supervise. We have to continue to do visitation, and when needs be, we will prosecute. Because as I speak to you, I think we have a matter in the court at the moment where someone was taken to the court regarding this matter. So this work is never done. You have to continue at it, and you have to let people know who might have proclivity to go that way.
Right.
They must know that you're paying attention. They must know that you will continue to deal with this matter in a robust way. The people you have
Right.
on the screen there are many of our officers from all different areas, labor and OSH, and so it's not just I want to believe other officers from other departments, I think, participated in this child labor confab that they had not so long ago. And it shows that we continue to make available the opportunity for officers to be upgraded and trained. And this is part of that exercise that we continue to do.
No, Minister, there's also a provision of some translation services and assistance. How do you see these like, especially given the influx of, the Venezuelans into the country? Some may come not on their own will. How do you see this assisting with, stemming the TIP activities in Guyana?
Let me say a couple of things about Venezuelan migrants. In the conversation with Venezuelan migrants, I continue to make this. I continue to articulate this to our international partners. When we talk about Venezuelan migrants, there are three sets of Venezuelan migrants.
Right.
And therefore, any program, any framework we have to deal with their issues, we have to recognize that. And we have to put in place framework that deals with the fact that there are three sets. So you have Guyanese who left Guyana in the hard times, and they went to Venezuela and lived, and they have lived there for decades. They have returned because of the condition and the situation in Venezuela. You have children of those Guyanese who were born in Venezuela. Many of them don't speak English at all. and they have returned, some of them with their parents, some of them by themselves, as adults with families. And then you have the Venezuelans who have no relationship and affinity with Guyana by a, uh, uh, birth or that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And if I may add, you have the Waraos, who are indigenous Venezuelans, who speak neither English nor Spanish.
Right.
So when you're having the conversation about Venezuelan migrants, people have to recognize that, and the intervention for the four subset, it has to be different. It cannot be the same. Now, what is important and relevant, and we hope that this can happen, we have been having conversation with the UNHCR about how we help, that is the Board of Industrial Trading, the Ministry of Labor, to bring Venezuelans who are here from out of the shadows via technical training and development, via accreditation and certification, because they are here. The government, through the Ministry of Health, we have made available to them health services. Through the Ministry of Education, we have made available to them educational services for their children. And the Ministry of Human Services, I know they have included the women in the WIN program. So we have been giving service to the Venezuelan migrants that are here, the government as a whole.
Right.
Now, how do we make them productive citizens is an important issue. And it ties into the issue of TIP, it ties into the security issue. Because, you know, we were taught growing up that a idle hand is a devil's workshop. So we cannot, for our security and our safety of communities, treat the matter of Venezuelans being here like it is not our business. It is very much our business as citizens in every community where they reside. And we have to work with them to make them productive citizens.
Right.
We have had interaction with the IOM, International Organization for Migration, on this very issue. We hope that we can resolve the issue we have with UNHCR and move forward with the MOU we hope to sign with them so that we can execute this program with Venezuelan migrants. Important to the program is language training, English language training for those who cannot speak English. So we are open to participating and collaborating in whatever way with sister ministries and agencies to deal holistically with this issue. And whilst we talk about that, there are also many Cuban migrants that are in Guyana.
Right.
So
Yes.
the Spanish-speaking people that we have around, they're not Venezuelan migrants only. They have Cubans who have taken up residence in Guyana. And so I have had a preliminary conversation with the Cuban ambassador about collaboration as regards this matter. I have had preliminary conversation, I must say also, with the Venezuelan ambassador to see how they can participate in helping us to deal with the problems of their citizens. I think they should have a duty and a responsibility to their citizens that reside in this country. So those are issues that we will continue to work with from the level of the Ministry of Labor and all the agencies we have here and departments.
Minister, lastly, before I move off of this tip segment here, during the training, there was separation between trafficking in persons and I think smuggling of persons. Could you give us a little definition or differentiation between the two?
Well, 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 they have people who are involved in smuggling people for a fee um, to other countries, and there have been allegations about people who were close to the past government who had people who were close to them who
Yeah.
were involved in smuggling of Asians through Guyana for other destination. Now, uh, one of the scourge of tip is basically utilizing people for profit. Smuggling is where you profit on a person.
Right.
Tip is where you're utilizing a person for profit, basically engage in slave labor, basically engage in prostitution. Uh,
Mm.
the smuggler, after he or she, based on everything I know, would have taken the person to the country where they want to go, and that person or their relative would have paid off the sum they requested to smuggle.
Mm.
In most instances, the smuggler, they will have no relationship with the persons that they smuggle. But from the trafficking in person end, everything I know, the person who is the architect of this arrangement, they have continued relationship with the person that they are trafficking. So the trafficking is a continued thing. It move okay. They move them from one jurisdiction to another, but when
Mm.
they bring them into the jurisdiction, they continue to profit off of them.
Okay.
So that is the distinction and the two different views on this matter.
Mm. Mm. Thank you for clarifying that. No, Minister, I know everybody's waiting, especially my live wire viewers. They're waiting for me to jump to this topic here now. The Ministry of Education would have written to the Ministry of Labor seeking the services of conciliation, I should say.
Conciliation,
Right.
yeah.
Now, talk to us a little bit about that, where it's going. I'm pretty sure you've been briefed on what's been happening. Share with us
Okay,
how that's been
okay.
working out.
Now, let me start out by making this point. My labor union friends are of the view that because I'm the Minister of Labor, I should have no view on this matter and I
Mm.
should make no comments on this matter. Let me say this to my labor union friends who might be listening. I hope they're listening. I don't work for the GTU, neither do I work for any labor union. So that's the first point. I work for a government led by one Mohammed Irfan Ali, President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. I work for the state they call Guyana. So let me put this in context because I know there have been a lot of hot air blown about the minister and his comments and his views on this matter. I think the minister must have responsibility to say to people when they're breaking the labor law that you're breaking the law. Who
Right.
else to tell them that? The police commissioner? No, that's not its role and function.
Right.
Who
Right.
has to tell them that, Mr. Stacia at GRA? That's not his role and function. And I could go on and on. There are two persons who, via legislation, via their statutory functions, who can say to trade unions when they're breaking the law, is you're breaking the law. That is the Minister of Labor and the Chief Labor Officer.
Right.
You're authorized to do that. So that's the first point. Second point is, I think we have a duty and a responsibility to say to workers that your union is having you engage in an illegal strike. I have a duty and a responsibility to those workers as a minister of the government of Guyana.
Right.
These workers, secondly, they work with an arm of the state. That is the Ministry of Education in this instance. So I have a duty and a responsibility. Failing to say that to them, I would be neglecting my duty as minister.
Right.
Whatever they do with the information after, they will deal with the consequences. But they're forewarned, they're informed. They couldn't say they are not with knowledge.
Right.
So they know that. So that's fundamental to this conversation. Now, you've had the first strike, and that matter, I don't want to speak too much about it. That matter is in the court.
Right.
I will say this. I must say this also. I think that the judge in this case overstepped his bounds. The judge got no jurisdiction to conciliate and mediate in labor relations matter.
Right.
None at all. When he attempted to bring two lawyers together to bring the two parties together, the Labor Act speaks specifically whose function is that, not the judiciary. So he overstepped his bounds. And I'm saying that boldly. He overstepped his bounds when he attempted to have people who have no statutory duty to conciliate or mediate. But regarding the other two matters that are in the court, I know the AG and his team, they're about appealing it, or they've already appealed it. And he has his views on the matter, and he will articulate those in the court. Important also and I'm not speaking about the court and its proceedings. I am speaking about labor relations. So anyone who are paying attention, I am speaking as Minister of Labor as procedures that deals with labor relations.
Right.
Nowhere under any labor relations rubric people get paid for not working. And anybody who want to challenge that, you're going to read. The principle is no work, no pay. And Courdel and viewers, listen to me. You know why they collect dues? A union collect dues? It is in preparation in the instance when they call workers out to strike. They put in place mechanisms that they call strike relief.
Right.
If they knew that when they call a strike, people must be paid, they have to be paid, there will be no need for strike relief to be given. So the fact that you have strike relief, it suggests to any sensible person the intention, you know that your people are likely not to be paid.
Right.
So that's an important point. In many instances, Courdel, in the negotiation for the terms of resumption, the employer, through their own goodwill, might say to the union representing the workers and the workers that in our generosity, we will not deduct all the days we will pay you for half of the period or quarter of the period.
Right, yeah.
They're not but good faith in the negotiations for resumption. Employers will do that. And this is not Guyana. Look across the world. That is the principle. No work, no pay. So from the labor relations side, I am making that point boldly. Now, other matters, you would know, we are now dealing with them. And so you have the two matters that GTU went to court for the judge rule.
Right.
We have a lot of question mark over the two judgments. As I said, the AG and his team will deal with that in the court. Now, engagement restarted, and the union showed bad faith by walking out of the engagement. The same thing, they were clamoring for engagement,
Right.
with the partner, that's the Minister of Education. And they walked out from the first meeting, I think, because an item that they wanted to be on the agenda, the Ministry of Education had a difficulty putting it on the agenda.
So it's my way or no way with them.
Yes. I mean, that is not negotiation.
Yeah.
You can't be a bully when you're negotiating. Negotiations suggest that both parties are in this looking after their own interests, and they will try as far as practicable to see how they can find a middle ground. That's
Right.
what a negotiation is. And in most instances, everybody don't get what they bring to the table.
Yeah.
That's what a negotiation, that is the end product of negotiations. That's why they call it a negotiation. It's not a subjection, it's a negotiation. So now they walked off, and so out of the meeting, showed bad faith. And so the other party, that's Ministry of Education, approached the Ministry of Labor properly to say, listen, there's a breakdown, there is a stalemate here. Could you bring the parties together and seek to conciliate around specific matter? And let me say this, that is a very important point. The conciliation, Courdel, is around only one matter. And that's very important.
Yeah.
Which time frame you will use to discuss the multi-year agreement.
Yeah.
I believe the members and the teachers are misled to believe that this conciliation that has been happening here this week, it is dealing with salary increases.
Salaries.
No, it's not.
Oh.
I hope the teachers are understanding that, because I get the sense, based on my sounding, that the leadership of the union is suggesting, and they have suggested to teachers, that this engagement here at the Ministry of Labor is dealing with salaries and benefits. No, not at all. Conciliation is dealing with one item, one specific issue, and that is what the conciliation will revolve around.
Yeah.
The time frame, because there's a contestation between the two parties about which time frame, when you should start, where you should start.
Minister, could I ask you why you think the GTU wants to go back to a period where the current administration was not in office, and if they couldn't get it from that administration, where, in my opinion, they were certain elements in the GTU leadership were close to, I mean, why are they trying to bully this administration now?
The point is, Courdel, look, a lot of people want to be leaders, but they're incapable of leading. A leader must lead. A leader must be able to lead people properly. A leader must be able to lead people without deceit. A leader must be able to lead people without misinformation. A leader must be able to have people trust them and their word. And a leader must have some astuteness. Because I don't know which government in which part of the world you are seeking to have them account for a period when it was not even their stewardship. I mean, the thing is so ludicrous. It's so ludicrous. So ludicrous that I don't even want to spend time on it. What is important going forward to note that, let me repeat, the conciliation that is, the engagement that is happening to go to conciliation is on a narrow limb. All it is dealing with, it is this time frame that is in contestation between the two parties.
Mm.
So for the teachers out there who might have been misled that coming out of this engagement at the Ministry of Labor with the Chief Labor Officer, you will get some salary increases, please expunge it out of your head. We have no such conversation. The Chief Labor Officer is having no such conversation. And you note, Courdel, that in a deliberate way, the union in bad faith brought that into the conversation, even though they knew what the conversation was about.
Yeah.
Deliberately. And so they are giving the members false impression. This mediation, this conciliation got no role at the moment as to what the parties will decide on, how much money will be paid to whoever. And I thought I'd say that. So now we're at a place where I know they're adjourned for to reach back here Monday morning at 10:30. Right now that is up in the air because you know that the union went out and acted in bad faith. Again, the members must know, how do you come into a meeting as a partner and you agree? You agree that the contents of the discussion must be kept secret. And you go out and you speak to people and not just issue a press release, issue a press release that is riddled with falsities.
Yeah.
You know, how do the party that you're negotiating with and you're having a discussion trust you? How do they trust you? I don't know if these people don't even think. How did they, when you are untrustworthy, you are untrustworthy, you create the conditions where people see you as untrustworthy. How do you expect people to trust you now? But we at the Ministry of Labor will continue to engage. We have been asked to engage. So the Chief Labor Officer will reconvene the conversation to deal with the issue of conciliation Monday at 10:30. Our expectation is that both parties will show up at the Ministry of Labor boardroom, and this conversation will continue. Importantly, Courdel, also before I go, you know, the GTU, they have been behind me since months ago, asking for conciliation, you know. And when they act in bad faith. You understand?
Minister, Minister, I
continue.
want to ask you to comment on something because we're running out of time, and I want you to elaborate on it for me. Now, it has been made public that the current General Secretary for the GTU is in violation of the rules or the constitution of the GTU in relation to her being a sitting member of Parliament. Can you share your thoughts on this?
The point is, look, Courdel, I'm sure they know, but again, it boils down to leadership, right? Leadership must be seen as always obeying the law, following the law. That's all I will say on this specific matter. It is for them in the union to determine what they do or how they do. Important for me to share with the public before I leave you, my good friend, and your viewers and listeners. In this press release filled of falsities, one of the things the union, they were demanding at this engagement is that laughable that the Minister of Labor recruits himself. I mean, Ordell, the public need to know the Minister of Labor cannot recruit himself even if he wants to do that.
It's like a dereliction of duty. That's your work.
Because the law does not allow the minister. The Minister of Labor is duty bound based on the Constitution and the law and the Labor Act to perform his duties. So how? By what stretch of imagination some party that got no jurisdiction in how the Minister of Labor functions? And I'm not speaking about Joseph Hamilton. I'm speaking about the Minister of Labor, whoever he is. Some party that got no jurisdiction at all in this matter, they're making a demand.
Yeah.
The person who got constitutional authority and procedural authority, he recruits himself from a matter that he, as the final arbiter, he must be engaged in. I mean,
right. But Minister, could you imagine if you were the current government was in opposition and we had a similar issue and you as the shadow Minister of Labor turned to tell their Minister of Labor to recuse himself from this situation? You can imagine the response you would have gotten.
You know, and I would say this, Courdel, people must remember, you know, that is the thing with these people, how they're so dishonest. Nothing I have done as Minister of Labor can compare with what Keith Scott did when he was Minister of Labor. And by extension, Amna Ali. They were in negotiations with Lincoln Lewis Union and the Russian Rusal.
Right.
They took on themselves. They didn't allow the chief labor officer to mediate these two people. So these people, they didn't see that as something bad. Hamilton has stayed far away from these engagements, and he has allowed the chief labor officer who has statutory authority to do his work.
Right, right.
When the time comes, if these matters are not resolved at the level of the chief labor officer, when the time comes, if the minister has to do his work, he will do his work. And no screaming and clamoring about recusing myself. As I've said, the law does not allow me to do that. The Constitution don't allow me to do that. And so that will not happen. And second point before I go is that no set of chest beating and stomping by the leadership of the GTU will cause the minister not to speak on these matters. I think I have a duty and a responsibility to speak to the people of Guyana. I have a duty and responsibility to speak to the workers. In this instance, the workers are teachers that work in the state they call the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. If I fail to inform them and to enlighten them, I will not be doing my duty to workers in this country. And therefore, I will continue to speak when I see the need to speak. You would note in the last week, I've refrained from speaking on this matter. But I think the fact that these people, they have brought me into the conversation, I must respond. They brought me into this conversation, at least my function. So I must respond so that the public can understand that what they're attempting to do cannot happen, will not happen. The law does not allow that to happen. Thank you very much, Courdel. Thank you very much, viewers and listeners.
Minister, thank you for taking the time to be with us today. You and your team continue the good work that you're doing there at the Ministry of Labor and the other programs that fall under your purview in terms of upskilling Guyanese. Continue to do a great job. Take care and enjoy the rest of the weekend. Guys, that was Minister of Labor, the Honorable Joseph Hamilton, giving us an update on several things trading, trafficking in persons, and the current negotiation, well, conciliation that is going on between the Ministry of Education and the Guyana Teachers Union, right? Y'all secret to guess who for 1.2 billion? Jesus Christ. I stopped calling people name here. Oh, Lord of mercy. Woo! But here's what I can tell y'all. I don't think critic can talk without evidence. So let me see what's gonna happen. But oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I'm not calling a soul name here anymore. Not a soul. 1.2 billion. Not even million, billion. And check it. Check it. And this is show you these things is to make your heart left you. So I think Simona Broom's got 450 million. Mark Benchcap is 200 million. It's almost $2 billion. Whew. But like I said, if critic talk, I'm pretty sure critic got the evidence. So let me see who got pay who or how the cookie gonna crumble in this one. But I had to mention it. I thought it was a typo when I see the headline. Oh my gosh, boy. It's like all the profit from the pump station on gone there, boy. Oh, Jesus. Whoop. Anyway, let's see how that story unfolds. Next week, Tuesday, we're going to have the Director of Solid Waste Management for the capital city on the program, Mr. Walter Ryan, to give us a rundown. Remember, we had Town Clerk Candice Nelson here, and she made us aware of the constraints and some of the nonsense. The fact that City Hall, at least the admin department, is unable to budget properly because there's no plan. So like how the government prepares a budget, a detailed plan on how they're spending the money, what they want to spend the money on, and how they're going to move it forward, what they want to accomplish for the year. Remember, Miss Nelson, the town clerk, stated here that they don't give the admin department anything like that to work with. So all they do is regurgitate the numbers from the previous budget because they have no plan. Right? So next week, Tuesday, we're going to have Mr. Walton Ryan here, and he'll talk to us about the garbage situation in the city. I saw Daybreak News, they did a production, The Garbage City. And we'll hear from Mr. Narain, his efforts, his team's efforts, and what support he's actually getting from City Hall, or where is the support that he's getting from the support that he's getting comes from, right? So Mr. Walton Narain is going to be here next week. I'm working on Minister Manik Chan to see if I could get her here on Monday. Once I have that confirmed, I will advertise on the platform for you guys to be aware. Please, guys, invite your friends, invite your family to follow Livewire News. We keep you up to date with what's going on in and around Guyana. Also, please check out Livewire TV on Facebook and YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe. Encourage your friends, your families to like, share, and subscribe. It helps us get the message out there. Apparently, got some algorithm Facebook and YouTube working with. So the more people that like, share the page or subscribe to the page on YouTube, it makes the content more visible to persons who the algorithm may determine are interested. So please, guys, when you're done here, please go over to Livewire News, follow the page, make sure you follow the page, give the page a like, share some of the stories so persons know that Livewire News is up and running, right? Pam, thanks to the share. I ain't talking about the Livewire News is a different page. So type it in Livewire News. You can take it to the page, share, like, follow, and thank you guys for the support. It's Friday. The weekend is here. Guys, please be safe on the roadway. I noticed an accident this morning, early in the morning. Come on, guys. Let's be safe on the roadways. Look out for those persons who might not be looking out for you. Do the speed limit, man. Do the speed limit. Don't let me overdo it. Don't let me overdo it. I want everybody to make it back to the program. Well, yeah. Well, Savita Secretary Live got 1.3K viewers. Well, obviously people gonna go there because of the whole swing matter. What I'm glad is that all of you came here this morning. Thank you guys for your continued support, and I'll see you here next week, same time, same place. And as I usually say before I go, it's all about peace. It's all about love. It's all about one Guyana.
We are a peaceful people, struggle as we struggle, and we don't look for trouble, just ask around. But when outside faces from foreign places talk about taking over, we ain't backing down.